this is a video response to someone who'd asked a question on another platform about, and I'll post it there too, but he asked a question about, you know, purchasing real estate or a house or a farmstead or a piece of property that based on its utility. And this is kind of more up my alley because this is, I mean, I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to this kind of stuff. When it comes to real estate, I buy based on its utility, its function, and whether or not it's actually a viable business purchase. Does it make sense to purchase it? A lot of people that are in real estate right now are buying on wild speculation based on what they think the real estate market could possibly maybe do. And that has been going on for a very long time. They're not buying based on its actual utility. And just fair warning here, this is going to be kind of a boring discussion. So if you're looking for Zaz, like, dude, there's plenty of cat videos out there. I'm not even criticizing, I'm just saying, you know, like, this is going to be kind of boring. So how I look at it is, so for example, the rental property space, which is full of guys that are, you know, have got the big sunglasses, the oily forehead, the frosted tip hair, tribal tattoos with no tribe, gold chains, wife beater, you know, oily forehead, douchebag thing going on. Yeah, I mean, I don't fit into that category. I mean, if there was a house that was for sale and the numbers worked, I trust the numbers, not the salesman. Like, the salespeople will tell you anything they want that you want to hear to get you to sign the deal. And finding real estate agents, for example, I went through dozens of real estate agents before I found a halfway decent one that understood that in her case, she understands this stuff herself, that most of this stuff is so grossly overpriced that no, most real, like a serious investor is not going to take any of that seriously. They're not going to take seriously somebody showing up and saying, hey, you can buy this 322 shit box for $450,000 and maybe you can rent it out for $2,000 a month and you only lose $200 a month. Any serious investor like me in my category, like, dude, I'm not even going to answer this. Click. Like, dude, come on. Don't even get around me with that. That's stupid. Those numbers are ridiculous. There's also the practical reality that I do understand. Incomes in this country are not keeping up with any of this. So why would I go all in on something like that to make a negative return on a monthly basis? Well, but there's appreciation. That's not appreciation. That's your currency collapsing. That is your currency. That is the US dollar collapsing. I don't know how else to put that. Other than just plainly, okay, that's your currency falling apart. So if you're buying based on utility, you're buying based on what it has value to you, right? Well, what if it has more value to somebody else? Okay, well, then let them buy it. Walk away. I mean, like, part of negotiation, one of the biggest parts of negotiation is knowing when to walk, knowing when to just say, you know what, I'm out. You know, let that be somebody else's problem. I don't want to deal with it. It's sort of like foreign policy. Like, well, but China will take over the Middle East if the U.S. leaves. They can have it. Good luck with that, China. Yeah, I mean, like, that's just the reality, okay? So when you think of it in those terms, right, you're buying something based upon, are you comfortable with owning it at that price? Like, are you personally comfortable with owning it? That's the only way I will buy anything, is if I'm personally comfortable with owning it at that price. And if I'm comfortable with it, and the numbers make sense to me, and it has proper utility value in that it's something that I'm going to do something with, then I'm okay with it. As far as the banking, to answer the other question, if you can find seller financed, that's optimal. And the reason I say that is because then you are removing the bankers from this whole thing. Now, check your state laws, because different states have different regulations. In Louisiana, they have like bond for deed, for example. I mean, somebody pestered me about that for like 6 months until I finally blocked her. And not because she was I just got pestered. I was like, Texas laws are different. Texas doesn't do bond for deed. Texas does just straight deed transfer, and then they do the seller financing, they treat the seller as though they are actually a bank for all intents and purposes. So it's just done a little different, and every state has their own little set of regulations. Just keep in mind that if you're doing seller finance and you're the purchaser, just make sure that everything is in writing, right? Anything, and I've said this for years, anything that I'm willing to tell somebody, I'm willing to put it in writing. You know, because I'm not going to try and hose anybody. If I'm willing to tell you something and I'm comfortable with it and I'm comfortable with the deal and I'm okay with all of that, dude, I'll put all that in writing and I got no problem with it. Just reality. When you can comfortably, you know, operate your business or operate your affairs, your business affairs that way, life gets a lot easier for everybody, right? I mean, because what you'll do is you will end up scaring off a lot of people running scams. Because they'll just see you, like if you're being honest and you're saying, hey, anything I'm willing to tell you, I'll put it in writing, like you're going to scare off a lot of people that are trying to run scams. And you're also going to frustrate a lot of real estate agents. They're not going to want to call you back and on and on. And it's fine, just move on. Move on. There's tons of other ones. There's what is it? There's like 9 million real estate agents out there. I mean, my God, you've got your choice, okay? And just go through them until you find somebody that actually understands that you're, and that has been around long enough in the industry that they themselves understand that no, you're not going to pay just some pie in the sky nonsense number for a property, like not something that you're using. Because remember, when you're doing something, you know, if you're going to try and, let's say you're going to buy like a piece of property and you're going to do it for like to run a little farm. Okay, so you're going to put some critters out there, and you're going to make some, you know, milk and cheese and what have you, and you're going to sell it at the, you know, and then you're not going to make any real money off of that unless you're doing like a commercial type farm. But you know, let's say that you're going to do some kind of like little farm like that. That's something that's fairly self-sustainable. If you're going to do something like that, then once again, the property has to be priced to where it makes sense for what your application is. This is common sense stuff. This is stuff I would tell anybody. And if you scroll long enough, you'll find that homesteader guy, and he'll tell you the exact same type of thing, I'm sure. It's going to be like, dude, you just don't want to throw caution to the wind and start spending a bunch of money on stuff that you don't really need. So all of that said, you know, I hope that if you understand that when you're buying a property for its utility value, you're buying it based on what you want from it, the goals that you have, as opposed to trying to turn and burn it, right? You know, the churn and burn money thing, that is winding down very quickly. In fact, that's actually the next video I'm going to be doing is on that. So this boring conversation is the same type of conversation that I would have with you if you were standing here in my garage. And it would just be kind of the stuff that I've noticed and that I've worked with in the past. And it doesn't always work. It's a true story. And most deals that are out there, vast majority of them are not good deals. Most, like the overwhelming, you might look at 100 different things before you find one that's even remotely kind of a good deal. And I'm not talking about like just trying to, you know, rake people over the coals on price. No, I mean just in general. Sometimes, you know, the markets themselves, people are just a little too delusional. They're still stuck in the idea that, okay, well, I'm going to get top dollar for all this. You know, I'm going to hold out for the big bucks, whatever. Okay, well, then you just go ahead and keep holding on to that property. I'll go look for something else. So I hope that answers your question.